And so now we are here. If you're not familiar with, these videos, it was around day 400 that I thought for every 100 days I should do something a little special, I guess, for every 100 days of doing videos, that I do. And around the time it happened, the President of the United States came out with the State of the Union address. And at that time, it got me thinking, I've done enough videos where you guys have seen me talk about my thoughts on some things I watch or how I'm feeling for getting ready for upcoming special events, stuff like that. But I always could take the opportunity to elaborate on that a little more. So that's essentially what this is, as well as sort of a reminiscing of, what these last 100 days have brought not only me, but to technically all of you, because, if it wasn't for the fact that I'd be doing this, I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys or whatever. I mean, even though you see me, I can't see you, it's still, it helps to know that, this is sort of a medium for my voice to be heard, I suppose. So, considering that today is Friday, I just read a really good One Piece chapter that features actually a great reference to Japanese mythology, as well as the fact that I will be getting readers later. You're probably thinking that today's going to be a pretty good day. Well, yeah. However, this is a brand new set of 100 days, so you gotta start over from the very beginning. How about we get over to what it was like, shall we? Well, I'll definitely say this. Ever since I started doing these videos that involve, the State of the Union, the State of My Being address, that's what I'm calling them, the State of My Being address, it really has given me an opportunity to be more aware and sort of help me remember, important events that I personally notice that are going on. And in these last 100 days, I would definitely say quite a lot happened. Yeah, I would. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. I mean, not every single day, was, good. I'll definitely admit that. I mean, off camera, obviously. I mean, obviously right now, in terms of, what I can remember or what I, talk about, that's entirely different. I mean, I don't need to tell you every bad thing or every good thing that, happens. I mean, gosh, I could probably tell you, 3 good things that happened yesterday, but for the life of me, I can't even remember them. But in terms of what I can tell you, there was some pretty, sad things that happened. I mean, no kidding, after the last time I did this video, Star vs. the Forces of Evil ended, which was arguably one of the best animated shows of this whole decade. So, the end of an era. It's pretty heavy when you think about it. But, a couple months later, we did actually find, actually not a couple months, but there was, we did find, the next sort of, successor to that, and that was Amphibia. And that was pretty sweet. I love Amphibia. I can't wait to find out more of the story. I mean, the final episode of season 1 finale says end of part 1. I'm like, I want to see more, and still waiting for more. So, cannot wait for that, of course. And, another thing that happened these past 100 days that was awesome, I revealed the entirety of my full course menu of life. I did. And don't worry, guys, on my Facebook, I meant to sort of write out, what they are, sort of as a, so that you guys would remember. But I just really haven't found the time. But honestly, considering that, you know, something else that sort of just happened, I think it's about time I do reveal it. That being said, I can't really talk about my full course menu at all without bringing up the fact that one of the places to get one of those items is no longer in business. And that is Tony R's. And you guys remember I did a sweet video on that. And I mean, not gonna lie, it still hits kind of hard. I mean, I'm not to the point where I'm just gonna be like, you know, crying, bawling, you know, tears rolling down my eyes. But, you know, Tony R's really did mean a lot to the good people of Corning. You know, it was a place where, you know, Corning Incorporated could ensue business meetings. It was a place where, you know, sort of conventions would be held for, you know, important medical meetings and stuff. So, well, not medical meetings, you get the idea. And not to mention, again, it had, you know, the best rib I ever had. But, you know, with that, it was a place we could get it, you know, definitely for sure, of course. Now with that gone, I mean, again, I mentioned this when I talked about, on that day I did my video right in front of Tony R's. I mean, losing Tony R's for Corning was a heavy loss, but not a critical one. I mean, there are so many other places on Corning that can easily pick up the slack that Tony R's, you know, fill up that void that Tony R's left. I mean, you have the Cellar, you have Three Birds, you have casual places like Atlas or Anilos, that's what it's called. Why am I screwing that up of all things? Or Rico's, or the R&M, which is the best place to get a burger in the city of Corning. And I didn't even mention, you know, the original OG, you know, the original GOAT, Sorges, you know, that's still there. Market Street Brewing Company, the places go on and on. So, Tony R's might be gone, but, you know, it's certainly not going to be, you know, left behind or forgotten. And nor will there be a sort of lacking of, you know, good food or a good place for a bite to eat in the city of Corning as well. So, you know, there's that. And I'll be perfectly honest, in like the recent, I would say, sort of months, I was a little self-conscious about how I looked. So, just saying forget it on day 550 when I revealed the final item on my full course menu, I didn't technically rip off my shirt more, so I just sort of, you know, took it off and jumped in the water. But, you know, the fact that I now, like, have the confidence to, you know, go outside and, you know, be shirtless or whatever and be comfortable with how I look, that was actually pretty special. I know I didn't really seem like it at the time, but that really was the case, and I'm glad I'm sort of able to do it more. Hopefully I can sort of keep up how I look for the rest of my life, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have no quarrels against anyone who, you know, is fat or skinny or anything like that, but, you know, I still would like to look kind of nice. You know, I mean, let's be real, we all sort of want to look nice, so it's sort of a sign in which to, you know, I am taking, you know, decent care of myself, which I like to believe I am. So, you know, there's that. Plus, I did finally just get in the water and just rip out seaweed and not be afraid of it in the water anymore. Although I will admit, though, when I jump in Cuca Lake and I still feel like, you know, seaweed, it still sort of feels, it takes me by surprise, is what it does. It doesn't feel bad, it takes me by surprise, which, nothing wrong with that, you know, that's just how it is. So, you know, yeah, then, you know, I finally talked about, you know, the two best places in Elmira and probably this whole area, Lib's and Moretti's, and It certainly won't be the last. I mean, this certainly will not be the last time I mention them. So, I mean, I'm not going to mention them every single day because obviously I haven't done that. But if it comes up, if I think about it, I will. So, that's something for a different day. So there's that. Although, if you guys do want a brief recap of my full course menu, here it is. My dessert, and I'll definitely post it in a little more detail later. My dessert is Rita's Italian Ice. My hors d'oeuvre, wings, or chicken wings. My soup, French onion soup, or New England clam chowder. My salad is, for the most part, Italian crumbly blue with extra blue cheese, or a Caesar. My meat, my drink is soda. Actually, I just did that order. My fish dish are crab legs, or beer battered fish, whichever is all you can eat, obviously. My meat, the ribeye, and my main course, the filet. Although, depending on where you go, there's a certain way to get it. But again, that's a little more in detail later going on down the line. Oh, sorry, my laundry's done. I'll get to taking care of that momentarily. So yeah, and throughout it all, and that also reminds me, I've also seen a lot of good movies in these last 100 days. Not in the large amount and from day 300 to 400 or day 400 to 500, but, I saw some good movies. I saw, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just saw Good Boys. Yeah, I think the most memorable one is Booksmart. Partly because of the movies I just mentioned has the higher score on Rotten Tomatoes. But for one other reason. And it's actually the best reason for it all. The night I saw Booksmart, I returned home. And I received a call from my mother and father. And I was told quite possibly the greatest news I've ever heard probably since I was getting into college, I guess. Or getting into Gettysburg College, I guess. And that is the fact that I am going to be an uncle. Me? I'm going to be an uncle to twins. To twin boys. I'm going to have 2 nephews. That's pretty awesome. That's like really good. I sort of joke around saying, I could have a bad day, and then it seems but then I realize that I'm going to be an uncle, so I'm going to be okay, but I'm being serious. The fact that I'm going to, and it's actually the one thing, you know what? I think it sort of goes back to, because, I did sort of, talk about this a while back, but at one point, I did actually contemplate suicide. And I'll get into further detail on that day down the line. But, I did say that, I ultimately decided not to do it. And while I'm sure that there's probably lots of reasons why, it ended up being a good thing, for right now, I would dare say that the fact I'm going to become an uncle is most definitely the best reason why, it was a good thing that I'm still here. Although, to be fair, throughout the 100 days, I also did talk about, did a few TP tales, which did include, why I went. Actually, that does You know, it was funny. I did talk about why I went, but there was like one more day where I did like 2 TV tales in a row. And the one that, the one that definitely talks about why I went, which again, for the fact that I really only did it because there was a guy I wanted to prove I was better than, and the fact that there was a girl that, I wanted to go to Trinity Pauling, a changed man, and ask that girl out and be in a relationship with her and stuff like that. Yeah, it's selfish, it's stupid, but you know what? I can actually, take the time to laugh at that. Because, in the end, it led me to this. And, I did sort of, ultimately not commit suicide. I'm still making videos now. It led to what's going on at this very moment in time. So, yeah, it is selfish. Yeah, it was stupid. But it led to this, so I certainly can't complain. And again, it's led to me hearing the best news ever. I'm going to be an uncle. I was able to see my brother find the right woman, get engaged, get married, and now they're expecting twins, later this fall or autumn, or, in case you guys are wondering the due date, originally it was going to be like late October, early November, but now it's going to be like mid-October, late October. So, again, later this autumn, or fall. I know fall is easier to say, but autumn just sounds like classier, I guess, to me. I don't know. So, normally when I do these videos, the state of my being address, that is, the last 2 times I did this, I picked out 2 quotes from, Hot Ones episodes, because I really do feel like they stuck out to me. The first time I did this, there was the quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. And the second time I did this, there was one from Terry Crews. And I thought long and hard about what quote I kind of wanted to, use for today. And as I was thinking that, hold on, I actually received a, sort of a, not a phone call, what's it called, I was given to this item I was about to show you. Hold on. Where is it? I just, literally just had it a second ago. Hold on. Here it is. It was early evening, and I get a knock on the door, and, this actually appealed to me a lot, because you guys know I played football for Horseheads, and one thing we do is that we would sell these to, for new equipment and stuff, $20 each, which, for the deals on here, this is actually a pretty good steal. I'm not gonna lie. If you get like, Horseheads football players like selling you this stuff, go for it. It's only $20, it's not that bad. You get stuff from like local places like, Hometown Barbecue, let's see, Honor Roll, Juliana's Brickwood Barbecue. So yeah, and a few other places like Rico's, Moe's, Southwest, TGI Fridays, Texas Roadhouse, places like that. So yeah, it's pretty spiffy. I like that. But he got me thinking, after I purchased this, that I don't know if it's nostalgia, or I don't know if it's just because, but I have been thinking about, my old high school lately. And then I thought, well, I am going to be looking up a quote, so how about I go through a little bit of organized chaos. For those of you guys who don't know, for those of you guys who do know, this was the this was the yearbook that came out, my senior year. And if any Horseheads alum who are watching this, who was there when I was there, you guys know what this book is as well. So, how about I read my senior quote to all of you? Which, funny story, I did sort of pick out this quote because a girl I liked who was a couple years older than I am, did this quote as well, and I was thinking of her. But at the same time, it also featured my all-time favorite literary character. So, at least I got that going for me. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. Yep, that was my senior quote. Come to think of it, there's actually a lot of good senior quotes in there. I wonder if maybe I should, for every time I do the State of My Being address, I should use one of their quotes as well. I don't know, something to think about. But one thing that most definitely does appeal to me about this quote is how true it is. Because, no one can ever really predict what you're thinking. No one can read your thoughts. So, just because a lot of people are saying, this thing over there is, real, or something, or like what this guy is saying doesn't make any sense at all, that in no way means that you have to listen to that as well. You may just be able to say it just to, appease other people. But you can say something and not mean it. You can sort of, completely disagree in your mind and, just keep it at that. So, no matter what happens, and no matter what anyone says, no one can ever, ruin whatever you're thinking. No one can ever take what's in your head and, change it or manipulate it, because you are you. And that is awesome. You are your greatest gift in a way, I suppose. I can't really think of a better way to say it. I'm sorry. So, and I think that's ultimately why, it's a reason why I still do this, because even if there was everyone saying, oh, Nick, you shouldn't be making videos anymore. Not that anyone's ever actually said this, I swear. As far as I know, I don't have any, haters or anything. So, there's that. But let's say that there were, a vast majority of people saying, oh, Nick, you shouldn't, be making videos anymore, we don't care how you feel, just, stop making them, whatever. Well, first of all, if you feel like I shouldn't be making videos, then why are you watching them? You could be doing other stuff, I'm just saying. But I'm never going to stop. I love doing this. And I certainly am not going to, quit doing it for, unless, the world ends or I, tragically pass away, to reach my untimely death, I'm never going to stop. And as long as there are good people like you guys are watching, I never will. So, considering that yesterday was a pretty average day, because it really was. And I actually mentioned this and funny enough, I mentioned this last time I did this as well, on day 499. Well, on the last time I did the State of My Being address. An average day like yesterday is actually what I needed most. Because between all of the bad, such as, Tony R's closing and shows like Star vs. the Forces of Evil coming to an end, as well as even famous shows I don't watch, like, Game of Thrones, to all of the good. Seeing Invader Zim Enter the Florpus and Rocko's Modern Life. Seeing movies like Booksmart and Good Boys and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Watching Wano, trying Nicktoons for the first time, actually singing on camera. Because I've never been comfortable with how I sing, but I still did it anyway. Even the fact that I'm going to be an uncle in a few months. All of that happened in the span of 100 days. So an average day like yesterday was the perfect thing I needed in order just to process it all. Sort of think about, holy cow, a lot did happen, didn't it? And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because I predict a whole lot's going to happen 100 days from now. Because, not that I can predict the future or anything, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be meeting two very special people in my life that I can't wait to meet. Like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, follow me on the social media platforms, turn on those notifications on YouTube. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I am hopeful we all have a wonderful Friday, which kicks off not only one wonderful weekend, but also another 100 days. And remember, if any of you guys ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices.